You know, sorry about that little sniffle there, but a couple weeks ago, I did a video where I asked the question, is AJ Styles really gone from TNA? Well, recently today, AJ put out a letter basically indicating that he was gone. He was done with TNA. He and TNA had parted ways. But what I find kind of ironic about this, though, is he's doing this a few weeks before he makes his official on-screen appearance with the company, or his official last two appearances with the company before he's gone. So why would AJ do this now, knowing in a few weeks he's going to be appearing on television defending the title or going title for title? Why would he do this now? See, there's always something there that's kind of giving away the fact that it's part of something bigger. That, to me, what I said in the original video is flat out true. And that is, AJ Styles is still part of TNA. He's probably already signed a contract. I said this as well in my a little over an hour long, 2 minutes over an hour long audio video response to Jeff's OTRS Central Holiday Humbug video on TNA, talking about the biggest flaws in professional wrestling. And when I take a look at this whole AJ Styles TNA situation, I look at it like TNA cannot let this guy go, and they probably haven't. But TNA is playing it up to such a degree, and possibly AJ Styles is playing it up to such a degree, that it makes it so believable that you're going to believe it. Let me give you one example. Let me give you an example I used in both the on-screen video I did a few weeks ago and the audio video. Devon, back in 2012, everybody thought he was gone. He was history. He was no longer part of TNA, right? Guess what? Devon gets revealed as a member of Aces and Eights at Bound for Glory. And he sticks with them for almost a year. So you would say maybe, so you basically would say right there, well, okay, hey, we see where you're coming from. Yeah, because everybody thought Devon's contract with TNA was done and he was gone. And what happened? Devon was still part of TNA. He basically signed a one-year contract extension. And you're telling me they can't do that with AJ? They can't just at least give him a year extension and say, hey, we want to keep you on for one more year so you do this and that? You can't tell me they can't do that just so they could work out their finances and make sure they have that money that they would have to pay him? You don't think they don't want to do that? Of course they do. Which is telling me right now, when I read that letter of saying, hey, he's without a contract, and yet he's still making on-screen appearances for the company in a few weeks, it tells me there's still something there. That they still have some kind of agreement. They have a contract agreement going. Some kind of contract has been signed. Year extension, 7 months extension, whatever, it's been signed. And they're not going to come out and tell you about that because they know if it gets leaked, then TNA is potentially going to lose out on the greatest storyline they've ever written. In their minds. They're one of the greatest, if not one of the hottest storylines they've written in a long time. They're going to lose out on it because people will already be wise to the whole situation. And that's about it. That's about it. Now, like I said in both videos, the only way TNA is going to prove me wrong, the only way I'm going to be proven wrong, and anybody else that basically feels the same way I do is going to be proven wrong, is if AJ Styles shows up as a surprise entrant in the WWE Royal Rumble. If you have some kind of music playing similar to what he had before in TNA, and all of a sudden now he comes, you know, that's the only way I'm going to be proven wrong. That's the only way anybody else that feels the same way I do is going to be proven wrong. But let's say, for the sake of argument, he is gone. Now, a lot of people say WWE is not interested in signing him. Bull crap. TNA isn't, WWE is interested in signing him. They're going to say they're not interested, they're not this, and they're not that, because they pretty much want to distance themselves and make their own stars. I get that. I get that. I get that. But they know a free agent when they see it. They know a big signing when they see it, or at least a potential big signing. They know they see somebody that could be a big, not a main event player, or could be basically a big main semi-main event, if not mid-card level main event player in AJ. They see someone that could potentially carry the Intercontinental and the United States Championships. They see somebody that if you pair him with the right individual, could be tag team champion. And if you decide, hey, let's bring back the cruiserweights, you see somebody that could be the face of your cruiserweight division. You see that. You see that potentiality. But, again, this is just my thought of it. And, again, the only way I see WWE signing AJ, because I know they want to sign him. You can come out here and say, people could come out here and say that WWE is disinterested in AJ. They are not. They look at this guy and they say, here's potentially somebody that used to be the face, used to be the franchise, used to be literally the John Cena of the competition of TNA, and now he's under contract to us. Do you not think they don't see the potential there? Of course they do. They see the potential. They see the huge potential there. They're not gonna, like I said, they're not gonna come out, literally and say, "Oh, we're not interested." Of course they're interested. They're not gonna say other. They're not gonna tell you otherwise. They're not gonna come out and say, "Oh, well, we're not interested." Blah blah blah. Of course they're interested. Basically, what it is, folks. With someone like WWE, if AJ's really gone from TNA, which again I doubt he is, I'm doubting he is, but if AJ's really gone, WWE would be stupid not to sign him. They would be. They would be stupid not to sign him. They would be stupid not to sign it. And to me, that shows again the level of their stupidity. But like I said, WWE is interested in AJ. They're not going to come out and say they're not. They're not going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we are interested." They're going to hide that. They're going to try to throw you off. They're going to try to throw you a curveball. WWE will do that. They're not going to come out and rightfully say, "Oh, well, yeah, we're interested in AJ. We're going to do everything we can to sign him." No. They're going to sign him. And I can already see what potentially could happen. We could possibly see the potential. We could see the potentiality of AJ signing, making a debut at the Rumble, maybe making an in-ring debut on Raw and SmackDown, and then doing the Performance Center and doing NXT and then being called up probably later on. I mean, if you want a good example of what I'm talking about, take a look at Bryan Danielson. Take a look at Daniel Bryan. When WWE signed him, he went to developmental. There's no doubt about it, so he can get seasoning. He agreed to do it. He agreed to do it. He agreed to go to developmental to get seasoned, to learn the ways of WWE, if you will. And what happened? And what happened? It didn't take that long before he was called up to the main roster to be part of NXT. It didn't take that long. Yeah, he was let go temporarily, supposedly let go. For all we know, it's part of a contract situation. Well, not contract situation, but for all we know, it's part of a contract deal or whatever they were doing. I don't think he was really let go, because why was he brought back suddenly, at SummerSlam? Get what I'm saying? I think they just, to me it was more to that release than I can imagine. But I'm probably wrong, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't know. Anyway, though, like I was saying, to me, it reminds me similar to Bryan Danielson's. It will remind me similar of Bryan Danielson's Daniel Bryan situation. Because I think AJ's the kind of guy that, he'll go down to NXT, he'll do the Performance Center, maybe after doing a Rumble debut, maybe after having a match or so on Raw and SmackDown. He'll do the developmental, he'll do the Performance Center deal, and I definitely see him being called up before the year's out. Because he'll be in that same position. It's like all he needs to do is have enough seasoning and enough understanding of how things work in WWE and how he's got to present himself. That when he does get called up, it'll be before 2014's out. That's potentially if TNA has let him go, which I do not think TNA has done. Now, a lot of people come out and they will argue, well, Bret Hart was part of WWE for just the same amount of time, and then he went to another company. Yeah, he did. And how much success did he find in WCW? Very, very mild to little success. Oh, they allowed him to be world champion. Big whoop-de-doo. What did that lead into? It just led into him basically becoming part of NWO, the last incarnation there. Whoop-de-freaking-doo, right? And that led him to basically having his career ended short. The point is, folks, the similarities with Bret's contract situation and then him leaving and AJ's contract situation, basically the tenure in the individual companies, where they were literally the faces of that company, of those companies, and then going to the competition or going elsewhere, I'm not going to deny they're similar. But TNA knows that if they lose AJ Foley, and he shows up at the Rumble, let's say for instance he shows up at the Rumble, then TNA knows they're screwed, because WWE just signed the face of their company. Can you imagine Dixie Carter's reaction, Viacom's reaction, Spike TV's reaction, if AJ shows up in the Royal Rumble and comes face to face with someone like a CM Punk, or comes face to face with someone like John Cena? Do you not think they're going to crap their pants? Do you not think they're going to piss their pants that happens? Of course they are. They're going to crap themselves. They're going to piss themselves. They're going to do all of that. But you see, that's all depending and up to whether or not, not up to, but it basically depends on whether or not they've kept him signed on. And what they're doing right now is making people believe he's not signed. Because companies do that. And again, like I said, the similarity goes back to with Devon last year. We all thought Devon was gone from TNA. We find out he's still part of the company. The thing is, TNA will do whatever it takes to get you interested in the product. They will do whatever it takes to get you to pay attention. And let's say, okay, now let's say AJ's gone. Let's say he's gone for a few months, and then comes lockdown. And you have Team Dixie, which obviously it's going to be, against a team led by Sting, or a team led by whoever. Sting, Jeff Hardy, whatever. Let's say you have a team led by Sting. Let's say you have a team led by Angle, or whatever. And they have two mystery partners. And one of them is Jeff Hardy, and the other is a mystery partner TNA wouldn't see coming, and that's AJ Styles. Let's say he's gone for that long. Alright? Let's say he's gone for that long. To me, it's basically the fact that TNA could do that. They can make it look like he's gone. They can let him go do these, accept all these different bookings and stuff, and have him say, oh, well, if somebody asks you if you're really gone, go ahead and tell them you are. That's fine. Go ahead and do it. That's fine. But to me, that's the only way I see TNA proving us wrong. And showing to us that believe, or showing fans that believe AJ's gone from the company, showing them that, oh, by the way, he's never really been gone, he's with us now. They could do what WWE did with Daniel Bryan. They could let him go, let him do the independence, and then re-sign him, bring him back for lockdown, because probably by then the finances should be okay to the point they say, hey, AJ, we want you back. And, oh, by the way, we can give you the money you want. Do you not think they're not thinking ahead? Do you not think they don't realize that? They got one of the big three pay-per-views coming up. One of the big threes, I guess you could call it now. And you do not think people are not going to want to see AJ show up in a lethal lockdown match as part of a team going up against maybe one of Dixie's teams, or a team representing Dixie, and sticking it to her in the biggest match of one of the biggest matches of the year? Of course they are. Of course fans would like to see that, and TNA knows that. If TNA has any large logic behind them, they know that. If TNA has any logic behind them, they know fans would like to see that. Fans would pay money to see that. They would. But you see, again, it all depends in Ragers on whether or not TNA has re-signed him. And I still am of the belief that they did re-sign him, and that what they're doing is very similar to what they did with Devon, and they're making you think he's not with the company, and eventually he's going to show up maybe a few months later at lockdown and prove he is. Now you might say, well, Brian, you kind of contract yourself right there, because you basically say, yeah, it could work either way. Okay, going back to what I said earlier, for the sake of argument, let's say he is done with TNA. TNA is still going to pursue it. They're still going to pursue it. They're probably going to say, let us have enough time to work things out financially, and maybe by lockdown we'll have enough, maybe by the time lockdown shows up, we'll have enough money to re-sign you to what you want. Sign you back to a contract for what you want. That's all they have to do, is just get the finances worked out, hopefully with a UK tour coming up, and that'll be exactly what they need to get AJ back on the roster. Not saying that will happen, because by then AJ could have showed up at the Royal Rumble, could have signed with WWE, and knowing AJ Styles, I don't know him personally. I've met him, I've taken a picture with him. Heck, he even dubbed me with the nickname the Man of 1,000 Questions. Or the Man with 1,000 Questions. That's what he told me, honestly. That's what he told me, honestly. So, anyway, though, like I said, AJ's the kind of guy, knowing him from watching what he did in TNA, from actually doing a Q&A with him along with some other people in Lawrence, Kansas, and watching him in CSW, AJ's the kind of guy that would humble himself and say, okay, WWE, I'm willing to be part of the Performance Center. I'm willing to do your thing to learn the ways of how you do wrestling. He's willing to do that. He'll do that. He'll be willing, he'll humble himself and do that. But he's also the kind of guy that will humble himself and do it, but also be the kind of guy that says, as long as I can at least debut in the Rumble as a surprise entrant, probably do a match on your main flagship show and your other show, and then I'll do the whole Performance Center deal. If he could do that, which I think Triple H wouldn't have a problem with, Triple H or Vince McMahon wouldn't have a problem with, then fine. Then fine, let him do it. But again, it all hinges on whether or not TNA has re-signed him or if they're planning to re-sign him. And I think they already have. Because again, why would he put out because you gotta find it kind of ironic that he puts out this thank you letter and yet he's got 2 on-screen appearances left. It doesn't really add up, folks. But that's basically what I feel. That's basically my thoughts on the current situation with AJ Styles. Will he stay in TNA? I believe he still be. Will he stay? Is he still part of TNA? I believe he is. I feel he is. But but then again, I'm not saying he's not, and I'm not saying that will he or not be part of WWE before the year's out. And like I said, the only way we're going to know that is at the end of January when the Royal Rumble comes around. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Video response. And I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.